driving to town. The wine store was closed.
Well, why didn't you just go to Kroger?
I wanted something nice.
Well, they have some decent labels. They even have a wine steward.
A wine steward at Kroger?
Well, excuse me, Mr. Wine Snob. Whoa, $90 a bottle?
That's right.
We're supposed to be economizing.
I know. I wanted something nice for Morris. He knows a lot about wine.
Well, have you tried this amazing wine?
No.
Well, then how do you know it's worth $90 a bottle?
The laws of supply and demand?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm removing the label.
Don't do that.
Oh, come on, David.
Just
it's tacky.
leave them on.
Oh, my God. Why are you working so hard to impress Morris Johnson?
I'm trying to help Carter. Morris can deliver 3 independent votes for impeachment.
Is that enough?
Well, apparently Carter thinks so.
And what does Morris want?
Nothing?
That'll be the day.
Look, I know you're not his biggest fan, but I need for everything to go smoothly tonight. We're literally talking about the fate of the country.
Uh-oh. What? I invited Sharon for dinner.
Why?
I know, but she called about the wedding, and I told her Carter would be here. We haven't done anything to get to know his family.
Well,
it would have been rude not to invite her.
Did you tell her Morris was coming?
I might have mentioned it.
Are you kidding? You know that Georgetown's faculty signed a petition preventing Morris from speaking on campus, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean she was involved.
Of course she was involved. She's so far to the left, she makes Cynthia look like Barry Goldwater.
It will be fine.
It won't be fine. Look, when we're all together tonight, I need you to steer the conversation away from politics.
Steer it? Where?
I don't know. Talk about the house. Morris loves anything having to do with Jefferson.
Huh, I'll bet he does.
Yeah, he's got this picture of Monticello in his office. There's a rising sun, the columns glisten with dew. Basically, it's architectural porn.
Okay, but I can't talk about the house all night.
Well, bring up your novel. Morris loves to talk history.
Does that include slavery?
I thought your novel's a romance.
Partly.
Well, talk about that, or talk about the wedding.
Fine, I'll talk about the wedding.
Where are they, anyway?
Down there, by the tree.
Oh. Carter! Cynthia, hey!
They can't hear you. Just give them a little time to themselves. They haven't been getting much sleep lately.
Okay, Morris is here. Remember, I need your A game tonight.
Excuse me?
What I've been saying, Southern hospitality, keep the women occupied.
women!
Hello! Oh, well, there he is.
I heard voices.
Oh.
Sorry around us. Look at this view. David, Violet, your new home is stupendous.
Why, thank you, Morris. It's awful kind of you to say so.
Morris, what can I get you to drink?
Red wine, if you have it.
Red wine. I happen to have a burgundy here. You might like.
That sounds good.
So, Morris, how was the drive from Washington?
Oh, not bad for rush hour. This really is a lovely setting.
Why, Morris, did you know that this part of the house was designed by Thomas Jefferson?
Is that right? Designed by Jefferson himself?
Yes. Jefferson's granddaughter married the owner's son. We've restored some of the brickwork and even the patio furnishings.
This is marvelous. I had no idea.
Yes.
Morris, here you go.
Thanks.
Well, I better check on the dinner. Morris, we're having chicken provençal. I hope you're not a vegetarian?
No, I'm quite the carnivore.
Oh, good.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
So, Morris, did you have a chance to talk to Frank?
Yes. They're going to present your article at Monday's board meeting.
And you told him it was an argument for bipartisanship, right?
Yes, but Richard Steele was apoplectic.
So what? They're gonna fire me?
Not necessarily.
Well, what do they want me to do?
I suggested a show of good faith.
What? A retraction?
No, we're past that now.
So, this is it then?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, a positive outcome tonight could be just the thing you need.
Well, what outcome are they expecting?
They want this impeachment to go through. But they're afraid of the Democratic backlash. They're going to want to secure votes against the Cortez bill.
Cortez bill? I thought socialized medicine was a non-starter.
Apparently there's some momentum.
Okay.
Carter seems like a very reasonable young man. As his future father-in-law, your opinion should carry some weight. And your daughter is on his staff, isn't she?
Yes, but our politics have diverged.
Blood is thicker than water.
Sure. So, what do you think of the burgundy?
Oh, it's respectable. Although I found it to be overpriced. I hope you haven't spent more than $20 a bottle.
Oh. 17 or 18.
The rest of our guests have arrived. Chief of Staff.
Hello, Brad.
Morris, this is a real pleasure.
For me, too.
And this is Carter's sister, Sharon. Sharon, this is Morris Johnson.
Hi.
Hello, Sharon. You must be very proud of your brother.
I am.
Morris is a colleague of David's at FEI.
Yes, I know.
And Sharon teaches history.
Oh, really? Where?
Sharon, what
Georgetown.
can I get you to drink?
Oh, white wine, please.
I'll get it.
Brad, scotch if you have it.
Oh, yeah, right.
What a wonderful place for a wedding.
Oh, will you be there?
I wouldn't miss it.
It's going to be quite a shindig.
Yes, it is. There are about 300 on the guest list so far. Carter and Cynthia have made so many friends on the campaign trail and in Congress.
Thanks.
Sure. I'll just go check on that, Chip.
All right, well, here we go, everyone. How about a toast?
Yes, how about to reform in Washington?
I'll drink to that. As Jefferson said, a government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything you have.
Cheers.
Actually, Jefferson never said that.
I believe it's well documented.
The false attribution to Jefferson was traced back to Ronald Reagan's 1976 primary campaign.
Okay, well, let's try another quote by Jefferson. Let's see if this works. I never considered difference in politics as cause from withdrawing from a friend.
Here, here. To friendship and politics.
Cheers. Bottoms up.
Wow. I can't get over how massive this tree is. The trunk must be 10 feet thick.
What?
This tree. It's insane.
Yeah, it's really old. Are you okay?
Yeah.
You were talking in your sleep again last night. Are you getting flashbacks?
It's all good. Hey, what are you listening to?
The wedding playlist?
I thought it was settled.
Well, Brad says we need some more oldies. Here, what do you think of this?
I know. I sang this in high school.
What are you talking about?
It's from the musical Brigadoon. I was lead. I'm serious. I wore a kilt and everything. What a day this has been. What a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love.
Oh my god, Lee! How did you sing this at the wedding?
And have it go viral?
So own it.
I'm trying to get reelected.
It worked for Obama.
Well, he was married to Michelle. I'm just kidding. Come on. Show me your moves.
Well, my moves, I don't think you can handle my moves.
What a day this has been. What a rare... Whoa! Why is there a huge hole there?
Oh, it's just a grave.
An open grave?
I mean, it was. Now it's a dig. Some archaeologists were here.
Okay, did they find anything?
Yes, some bones.
Whose bones?
Slaves. Mom's trying to find out who he was. She wants to work it into her novel.
Are there any other graves around here?
Probably. Are you sure you're okay?
Yeah, we better get back.
Oh, the thought of sitting down to dinner with that creep.
That creep can help get an impeachment vote.
Oh, I wonder what he's gonna ask for.
Whatever it is, just leave it up to Brad.
You can't cave on that tax increase, Carter.
You need to follow Brad's lead tonight. I mean it. There's been enough friction between you two lately.
Because you should be writing legislation and not spending
That's
5
the
hours
job.
a day in a call center.
Let's just get this over with. I want to get back to town before midnight.
We're staying here tonight.
Fine. Your parents have a guest room?
They have like 4 guest rooms, and no, we're staying in the same room
Even
together.
so, I want
Isn't
to...
that Sharon?
What?
Up on the terrace, that's Sharon, right?
Oh, no. Did you invite her?
No, it was probably Mom.
Yeah, we better get back. For Cynthia, I'm counting on you to keep Sharon away from Morris.
Why?
Because she hates him even more than you do.
Good for Sharon.
Come on.
Oh, Dr. Bankhead, the view is quite marvelous.
I have taken Mr. Jefferson's recommendations and cleared the slope up to the gate. Excepting for the poplar, we now refer to the homestead as Fairview.
Oh, it truly is a fair view.
Please extend my felicitations to your esteemed father. I'm sure he is anxious to get back to his beloved Monticello.
Oh, yes. He has come to despise the quagmire of Washington.
Where is Anne?
Oh, she's waiting for Charles under the poplar. Do you see her?
Oh, yes, there she is.
They said their goodbyes under that tree and vowed it would be the scene of their reunion.
Oh, then it is a salutary gesture to their happy future together. I'm sure that Charles will find her there soon.
I wonder if Charles had received my letter.
Your letter?
Yes, I want to know if the terms of the dowry were satisfactory.
I'm certain that they are. Charles has been rather preoccupied with the harvest since his return from the militia.
So I have his assurance he would never sell the estate or any of the servants.
Yes, of course. Now that you are here, he can give you his promise directly.
Oh, very well. I don't suppose there's any wine available?
My apologies, sir, but I am expecting tea momentarily.
Hot tea.
I can send for spring water if you prefer.
Please don't trouble yourself. Tea will be fine.
My apologies. As a Methodist, I am pledged to abstain from spirits before sundown.
Please don't apologize. I understand entirely, sir, and I commend you for your dedication.
Yes. Oh, Dr. Bankhead, we are looking forward to attending the Methodist service with you tomorrow.
I hope you do not find it too unfamiliar.
I should think not. We are all Christians.
I don't wish to presume, but it is my fervent hope that your daughter Anne finds a home in the church.
Oh, certainly, if Charles wishes it.
The church has been a source of great comfort to Charles since his return from the militia.
Well, was he wounded?
No, not physically, but he did suffer a disaffection, a deadening of the spirit due to the tedium of the military.
But his spirit is revived now?
Oh, yes, quite nearly. Here is the tea.
Oh, Sookie, it is good to see you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
I hope Cato is well.
Yes, ma'am.
Where's Cato? I was expecting him to meet our carriage.
He is helping with the harvest.
Using your butler as a field hand?
We had no choice. The winter wheat is late, some of it was spoiled.
Oh,
Were the seeds brittle?
No, undernourished. It is curious. I would have you look at it and ask you your opinion when you are rested. I have brought up a sheaf to the garden.
Well, I would see it now.
Well, let us proceed.
Yes, please.
do go on without me. I know so little of wheat.
Very well, then.
Oh, Sookie, you have been greatly missed. Since you left us, it seems there's always some crisis at Monticello. I shudder to think of the disarray that awaits our return.
Thank you, ma'am. Pardon me, ma'am, but I wanted to ask you.
Yes, Sookie, proceed.
It's not an easy thing.
Oh, please speak freely.
I wanted to know if you and Mr. Randolph would bring me and Cato back with you to Monticello.
Are you asking us to purchase the two of you?
No, ma'am, just lease us back for a few weeks. We could help prepare for the wedding.
Well, it was a great sacrifice to allow you to leave and marry Cato. Are you not happy here with the Bankheads?
Oh, Mrs. Randolph, it's the overseer. I believe he wants to use the whip on Cato, and Cato is more afraid of the whip. It would just be for a few weeks until the harvests are done.
Well, have you spoken to Dr. Bankhead?
Mr. Charles is taking charge of the harvest, and I don't want to make trouble between him and Dr. Bankhead.
Oh, why should there be any trouble? Charles would never allow Cato to be whipped.
Yes, ma'am, but Mr. Charles hasn't been himself since he come back from the patroller. Beg your pardon, but he's taken to the drink.
I see.
Will you speak to Dr. Bankhead?
Yes, Sookie. But meanwhile, let's keep this between ourselves. And please do not approach Mr. Randolph. He's very concerned with our finances now, and I must find the best way to justify the extra expense of keeping 2 more servants.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh. This tea is dreadful.
It's bitter root, ma'am.
Oh, this damned embargo. Excuse me. I believe I will join the gentleman.
Cato, what are you doing up here?
You get that ham?
No, I didn't get no ham. I asked Mrs. Randolph to bring us back with her.
The bankheads ain't gonna release me.
They will if Mr. Randolph asks them.
What make you think he gonna help?
He wants to help free the slaves. In Monticello, I used to hear him talking about it all the time.
And that's all it's gonna be, talk. Now you get me that ham.
Stop it. I'm not running.
And I was going alone.
You wouldn't leave me.
I sent for you in a year or so. After I was gotten set up in Ohio.
They got double patrols on every road north and west. You won't make it out the county.
I'm gonna take Master Charles' pistol.
Then they kill you for sure.
I can do it. You gotta believe in me.
Now listen to me. I asked Mrs. Randolph to lease us back for a month. We'll stay there until that overseer is gone. You got $200 put aside. We're halfway there. And we'll keep on saving bit by bit. Please, Cato. You want that house in Ohio? You want our children to breathe free air?
You know I want it more than anything on this earth.
Then please, Cato, give me 1 day.
You got 1 day then.
Good. Now you get back out to that field and stay away from that overseer.
Oh, Charles.
My dearest Anne, you're here at last.
Yes. Oh, I thought you'd forgotten.
Our reunion under our tree? The very thought has sustained me the entire year.
Then why did you never write? I was so worried. We heard reports of slave insurrections.
No, it was mostly TV.
At last under our tree, I do love it here.
Yes, it is a happy place.
Remember when we were young, just over there, you found a bird that had fallen out of its nest. Cato built a box, and we made a nest in that box and nursed the bird back to health. Do you remember?
Yes, seems 100 years ago now.
And then last year, when we said goodbye, you looked so handsome in your uniform. I thought you were so brave. Charles, what is it?
I remember you were just a bare stick of a girl always chasing us about. And then once some of that bare stick had blossomed. And now look at you, so fetching in that dress. Come here, you kiss me again.
Oh, Charles, the parents can see us from the terrace.
Of course, forgive me.
Charles, you've been drinking.
I've been celebrating the thought of seeing you again.
You should have responded to Father's letter.
His letter?
About the dowry. Surely it's a simple matter to assure him you would never sell the house or the servants.
Not so simple, really. Not when field hands are fetching upwards of $1,000 in South Carolina.
Please, Charles, you know Father's feelings on the matter.
Yes, he will free the slaves. A Moses for the African.
Do you not believe it is the right thing to do?
Well, the right thing is not always the possible thing.
Please, Charles, you must give your promise to Father, otherwise he will end the engagement.
But everything is arranged.
No! Charles' mother remains your fervent champion, but Father has his doubts now.
His doubts about me.
About your service in the Virginia militia.
My service, I only did my duty.
Well, yes, but there have been stories of brutal things done by the slave patrols.
And he's worried my character has been sullied, is that it?
Oh, he wonders. Which is why you must now act with the greatest propriety.
Of course. I will remain the perfect Virginia gentleman.
Just remain the perfect gentleman. Until Virginia outlaws slavery, Father prefers the attitudes of the North.
Of course, my dearest, on this matter I will remain only your devoted slave.
Please don't jest.
And speaking of slaves, damn my eyes.
What are you gazing upon?
Where the devil is Cato?
Is he not working in the house?
No, nor is he working in the field.
Cato in the field?
Anne, please, I must attend to this. You turn to the house, I will see you at supper.
Are you really going to cut a deal with Morris Johnson?
You need to stay out of this.
Have I said anything?
Not yet. You've shown unusual restraint.
That's not restraint. That's pent-up rage.
Whatever it is, keep it up for another hour or two. I'm working here.
Listen to me, Carter. You can't let this man come to your wedding.
What are you talking about?
There's going to be photographers. I can't be publicly associated with him.
Why not?
I'm up for tenure.
Seriously.
Have you read the IQ factor?
I've read enough of it.
Then you should know why we kept him off the campus.
I thought this country was founded on free speech.
Yeah, free speech, not hate speech.
This is why no one can talk to each other anymore.
No one can talk to each other anymore because these people are masters of disinformation.
Which is why you need to listen and respond with truth. Isn't that what you teach, Professor? Civil discourse?
Civil discourse. You think this man is civil?
If you allowed a free market to exist for healthcare, you'd see prices go down dramatically. All you need to do is remove government meddling.
Meddling.
I know we have our philosophical differences, but I think we can all agree that the president is a disaster on immigration, on foreign policy, and mostly on how he's divided the nation.
Then why haven't you publicly rebuked him?
The president is a symptom of a deeper problem. We need people in this country who are well off to step out of their bubbles and help the poor, help fight the wars. And that's another reason why I like you, Carter. I want to thank you for your service to this country.
Thank you, Morris, but actually I thought Iraq was a huge mistake.
Even so, I believe we need more leaders like you.
Here's the thing, Morris. Republicans used to be all about balanced budgets. And that's what conservative meant. Now, all Republicans seem to care about is cutting taxes and undoing everything the Democrats seem to put in place. Meanwhile, we can barely pay off the interest on the debt, and we're facing yet another government shutdown. I've got to ask, Morris, is this part of your long-term strategy to bring down the government?
Nobody's trying to bring down the government. But we do want to replace services that would run more efficiently in the private sector.
Services, like the post office, prison, schools.
Gentlemen, if I may, let's not lose our focus. Morris, how can you help us with the impeachment vote?
I think I can speak for our 3 independent representatives, but they're going to need some.
I'm not voting against the tax increase.
They're not asking you to.
Then what do they want?
They'll want you to vote against the Cortez bill.
Really,
Wait,
that's
you
all.
can't do that.
What's the Cortez bill?
It's universal health care. It's what they have in every other developed nation. England, Canada, Germany, France.
I tell you what, Morris. Brad and I will discuss this and get back to you later tonight.
Very well.
If you're for impeachment, then why are you even talking about trading votes?
We feel that there are even greater dangers to this country.
Oh, dangers like helping sick people.
I promised Morris you would tell him about your novel.
Oh, yes. David says that you're writing a historical novel.
Yes, about the bankheads and Jeffersons.
We saw the grave down there. You're doing research on the slaves who lived here?
Sharon has been helping me with the history.
I haven't really done anything.
Yes, you have. Those slave narratives you recommended have been extremely helpful.
What's the title of your novel?
Well, the working title is The Crying Tree.
Crying Tree. Interesting.
Did you see the big old poplar over there?
Oh, yes. It's a remarkable tree.
Well, it's over 300 years old. The realtor said that it had been known for years as the crying tree. Now, supposedly, that's where the young women said goodbye to their beaux before the young men rode off to war.
Actually, there were other crying trees on southern plantations. They usually mark a place where slave families were sold and separated from each other.
Oh, I see. Well, there's a lot of history here at Fairview. A lot of history. And speaking of history, did you know that Thomas Jefferson was a frequent visitor here? In fact, he might have stood on this very spot. I mean, can you imagine that? If we could all just go back in time.
Yes, what I wouldn't give to have an hour to talk to that amazing man.
If I could talk to him, I'd ask him how he could say all men are created equal and then own slaves.
Actually, Jefferson was a great proponent of emancipation.
Oh, really? Then why didn't he free his slaves?
He believed that emancipating slaves should be part of a democratic process.
So Thomas Jefferson kept his slaves out of a commitment to democracy?
He was against the federal government imposing abolition.
There were other slave owners at the time who freed their slaves.
Jefferson abhorred slavery. He thought it was a crime against humanity.
He also believed they were racially inferior.
I don't know about that.
He called them as incapable as children.
Sharon, you seem to be a great expert on Jefferson. Did you say you taught at Georgetown?
That's
Hey,
right.
who would like something else to drink? By the way, anyone else?
You're probably aware that I was prevented from speaking on your campus.
Yeah, I am.
The Washington Post published a letter from some of your faculty members. That phrase, incapable as children, was also quoted in it.
I know. I helped draft that letter.
What did that letter say?
The author, or authors, compared the notes that Jefferson made on race in his book, Notes on the State of Virginia, with one of the chapters in my book, The IQ Factor.
That's right.
Sharon, I tried to talk to someone on campus. As a matter of fact, I left several messages with the dean of your history department.
I wouldn't know about that.
Hey, Vi, I think we're all ready for some dessert now, aren't we?
It's still heating.
Sharon, all I wanted to do was have the chance to explain that the IQ factor was about class issues and not race.
You said that intelligence was passed on genetically.
Can we get back to business, please?
Yes, Morris, we can discuss this later.
Now, just a minute. I make no claims that race determines intelligence. All I did was examine how intelligence affects poverty.
So how do you explain all the people who cite your book as an argument that blacks are inherently inferior?
I can't help that.
Can't you?
But IQ tests don't measure everything, right? I mean, what about emotional and moral intelligence? I mean, look at Hitler. He was completely evil, but I bet he'd score off the charts on an IQ test.
Actually, Hitler wasn't that intelligent.
No, Hitler wasn't smart.
Hitler's IQ was estimated to be somewhere around 120. Now, that's above average, but it's certainly not phenomenal.
Hold on, did Hitler actually take an IQ test?
No, they got his scores from his writing and speeches.
So you can measure IQ just by the way somebody talks.
It's not just about speech patterns, it's about problem solving and pattern recognition ability.
Interesting. So what's my IQ?
It's not a parlor game.
Just ballpark it. I won't be offended if you think it's low.
Okay, if I had to guess, I'd say 128.
128.
That's good, Carter. You're smarter than Hitler.
Yes, 128 is a high score, but these are just averages. You have to remember, each of us is a distinct individual. Now, I'm sorry. I don't want to spoil the party with this. Actually, it's been quite a painful experience. I've had people tell me they agree with me in private and then denounce me publicly. Not to mention the hate mail.
David, why don't you take Morris and show him more of the ground while I talk things over with the Congress?
Okay.
Yes, I'd love to see more of the
Yeah,
place.
why don't we start with the gardens? Vi?
Jesus, Carter. Can we stick to the game plan?
You've heard him, Brad. He is the worst kind of racist.
Yes, he also happens to be the kind of racist who can help us impeach the president. Eyes on the prize.
He did not just say that.
Sharon, could you give us a moment?
How can you even consider dealing with this man? He thinks you're a subspecies.
Sharon, we know this is all very insulting, but there is a bigger picture here.
Yeah, well, don't get so focused on the big picture that you miss what's going on behind your back. Excuse me.
Look, Carter, you can't do this deal. If they're worried, it means universal health care may actually have a chance.
It's a non-starter. We are lucky to have what's left of Obamacare.
Because both parties are addicted to donations from big medicine.
We're preaching to the choir.
Oh, am I?
Okay, Cynthia, can I just talk to Carter, please?
Oh, yeah. Talk.
Listen, Carter. Morris has guaranteed us $100,000 in donations.
100,000 from where?
It is PAC money.
Which pack?
It's called the Peace PAC.
Are you kidding? That's Raytheon.
Raytheon?
Yeah, commercial airliners.
Missile guided systems. That's 99% defense
Okay,
contracts.
fine, I will pass on the PAC money, but we still need to make a deal with Morris tonight. Impeachment has to remain the priority.
If we could just get 20 votes for the Cortez bill,
Forget
then
Cortez. The Democratic leadership will never get behind
not
it.
unless people like Carter start
We
to
get
stand
it,
up.
Cynthia. But now it's time for Carter to make a decision. So maybe you can get us some coffee.
Oh. You're sending me for coffee.
Yes. Please.
You don't even send the interns to get coffee.
Interns don't question my authority.
I just question your judgment.
It's the same thing. Aren't you going to say anything?
I could use some coffee.
Fine.
We need to make a deal with Morris tonight.
Do you think universal health care has a chance?
Maybe someday, but it's not with losing impeachment.
I need some time with this.
There is no time.
Brad, you can't keep forcing decisions on me. I need all the
You
facts.
have all of the facts.
The peace pack?
Okay. But you know what kind of pressure I'm under to make the quota.
Fuck the quota!
Fuck the quota. How many ways are you going to tie our hands? Not every donor can come from the Sierra Club.
How many times have I told you, Brad? No more blood money.
Okay, which is why we need to make a deal with Morris tonight. I just found out that POTUS has plans to amass troops on the Iranian border.
Who told you that?
My contact in the authority website.
And what if he's feeding it to you?
Nah, it's good intel. Besides, you know what this president is capable of. Just try and imagine what another war would mean.
Give me a minute.
You know, Morris is not going to hang around all night. There's no time for navel gazing.
Brad, you need to back off.
What is the problem?
First off, don't presume to tell me what another war can mean.
Okay, you're right. I am sorry. I am just trying to do the right thing here.
So am I. Which is why I need a moment.
Carter.
Now excuse me.
Carter. Get back here. What the hell?
Where's Carter?
Oh, he's out there on a walkabout.
What happened?
He needs time to think. Is this more of his PTSD stuff?
I don't know, Brad, but you can't pressure him like this.
This is the job. Now go out there and bring him back. I will distract
This deal
Morris.
is all wrong. What
Enough. It is what it is. Now go get him back here.
Hey, you're the boss.
Exactly.
Martha,
Yes, Thomas.
you must be very fond of that hymn.
Yes, I thought it was very pleasant to sing in church.
You enjoyed the service then?
Yes. Did you not?
Well, it was very spirited.
Did you not find it instructive?
Yes, to a degree. What did you make of the citation of Ephesians?
Did you disagree with the sentiment?
No, I just found it curious.
Well, here comes Dr. Bankhead. You should ask him.
Mr. and Mrs. Randolph, the afternoon sun is almost upon us. Perhaps you would be more comfortable inside.
We are enjoying the lovely weather and view.
Very well. I'm glad to see you at repose. It is good to rest on the Sabbath.
Except for your harvest teams, I see.
Ah, yes, the overseer insisted.
It will be hard work today.
Yes, I wanted to ask you your opinion of the church service.
We found it very uplifting. But Thomas had a question about the homily, the quotation from Ephesians, was it not, Thomas?
Which verse, you will have to remind me.
Eternal freedom is greater than earthly freedom.
That is one of our basic tenets. That heaven is a place far greater than this world of sin. A paradise, if you will.
Yes, that is a happy thought. I just wonder how it is to be interpreted by the enslaved.
If they do their duty, they will find a place in paradise.
Well, quite so. But the Bible also provides examples of earthly freedom, does it not? I'm thinking of how the book of Exodus, for example, would send a slave to find freedom in this life.
Yes, I see your point. The Bible has many other examples of servitude. The Israelites themselves kept servants.
Yes, as you say, the Bible offers various examples of slavery, but I wonder which of these ancient examples are we to use as models for our modern lives?
Oh, Thomas, I'm sure Dr. Bankhead isn't interested in a theological discussion.
Actually, Mrs. Randolph, I have put a great amount of time into the thought regarding the rightness of our peculiar institution. And I have found that our pastor is most enlightening on the subject. His viewpoint is as follows. You may have corrupt masters, but it does not follow that the institution of slavery is inherently corrupt. Similarly, a man may abuse his wife, but it does not necessarily follow that the institution of marriage is inherently corrupt.
So you now consider the institution of slavery to be benevolent?
I consider it to be part of a divine order.
A divine order that deprives people of their liberty?
Perhaps, but there are people, and then there are people.
Well, I'm not sure. I take your meaning, sir.
Our servants have become our servants because they are not people like us.
Well, as a doctor, you must know that dark skin is but a superficial difference.
It is the marker of a deeper divide.
Such as?
Such as those observed by your esteemed father in his notes on the state of Virginia. To wit, they sweat more profusely, allowing them to worry more. They require less sleep. Their grief is but transient. They do not possess the same depth of feelings as we do.
But my father employed the word notes in the title precisely because these were mere casual observations.
True, but I have observed similar characteristics.
And you, as a man of science, have studied these differences scientifically.
I must admit that my observations are not exactly thorough. I'm sorry, Mr. Randolph, but I prefer to leave the judgment on this matter to the will of God. Now, I beg you to excuse me. I must attend to the medical needs of one of our servants.
Yes, Dr. Bankhead, you should go.
Yes, it is important. Business. Good day.
Good day.
Off to deliver another slave baby. Important business indeed.
Thomas, I think you were very rude to Dr. Bankhead.
Rude? Now I understand the appeal of his church. Now that the preachers have gained legal status, they fill their coffers by appealing to slave owners. In return, the slave owners pay to mollify their guilt.
That is a very cynical viewpoint.
Well, how can I not be cynical when I see science and theology so happily aligned with financial interests?
Oh, we all profit from slave labor.
Yes, but we don't justify it with false science.
Very well, but can you please let the matter drop while we are guests in Dr. Bankhead's home?
This new theology is destroying our hopes to end slavery.
I'm merely thinking of Anne.
Oh, I'm thinking of her as well. Can we allow her to marry into a family with these kinds of religious beliefs?
Please, Thomas. Anne is almost 18 years old, and she has 4 unmarried sisters. I have worked too hard on this engagement to jeopardize it now with your political ambitions.
My political ambitions?
Anne adores Charles. Let's merely leave it at that, okay?
Pardon me, may I bring you more tea?
Tea. Do you not have any spirits?
I'm sorry, Dr. Bankhead.
Yes, we know Dr. Bankhead doesn't serve spirits before supper. Perhaps I can find something in the cellar myself.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, have you spoken to Mr. Randolph?
Not yet.
Please, ma'am, I've heard more talk about Cato.
Yes, okay, I'll be sure to bring it up later today.
Ma'am, please, aren't you planning on leaving tomorrow?
That will be all, Sookie.
Yes, sir.
Mother, have you seen Charles?
I believe he's inspecting the harvest.
He's supposed to meet me here at noon.
I'm sure he will turn up.
I saw Father. He looked cross about something.
It is just one of his moods.
Does he have some sort of objection to the engagement?
No, Anne, nothing of substance.
Good. I'm going to look for him.
Anne,
Yes.
perhaps you should take a rest now. I thought it would be nice for you and Charles to have some time alone tonight.
See him at supper, will I not?
Yes, and afterwards perhaps. You two should have a chance to discuss your life together in a more, well, intimate manner. Away from the interruptions of other family members.
Are you suggesting that I meet with Charles after hours without a chaperone?
Charles is a gentleman, and this will be your last chance to see him before the wedding. There should be no doubt in your mind that you two are suitably matched. You don't have any doubts, do you?
I must confess that Charles seems somewhat altered since I saw him last.
Altered? How?
He drinks and he hides it from his father.
And have you confided this to your father?
No, should I?
No, dear. I believe that Charles is merely overstimulated. You should do your best to calm his nerves. It will be one of your duties as a wife. So go now. Take your nap.
Yes, Mother.
Hello, Cato.
Mr. Charles!
How many hours do you think we spent under this tree, boys?
I was reckons I couldn't say.
Remember the time my kite was caught up in there?
Yes, sir.
And I asked you to climb on up and fetch it. I did not think you could do it, but climb it you did. I was amazed at your bravery. And then somehow, I climbed up there as well. And there we were, together, straddling the high branches. We could see for miles. You remember?
Yes, sir. I do.
Look how high we were. It terrifies me now. However, did we do it?
I was reckon we could do it again.
No. Some things you can only do as children.
Yes, sir.
Cato, I want you to gather your team and get back to work.
But I told you, Mr. Charles, them men could work until the night if they break for the noon heat.
I'm sorry, but Mr. Yancey does not agree. He says that stopping in the heat of the day sets a bad example for the other teams.
Mr. Yancey be talking them things because my team's harvesting more wheat than his.
So Mr. Yancey doesn't know his business.
The more he using the whip, the more his team's looking for ways to slow down the harvest. He just slowing us down too.
You need to work through the day.
Please, Mr. Charles, them hangs know their business. Let him wait for the new meat.
I made my decision. Well, that's why I brought this.
Who's gonna use that on the team for Mr. Charles?
No, Cato. You are.
No, Mr. Charles.
It is a difficult thing, but it is something to which you can become accustomed.
Please, Mr. Charles. Don't ask me.
Now you go and you gather up the hands and you show them this whip.
I was begging your pardon, Mr. Charles. But you take it to the drink this morning. And you's not yourself under the drink.
My drink is no business of yours. Now you take this whip like I told you.
That's king.
You mean you won't?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. No, sir. You think you fooling anybody with that act?
No, Mr. Charles.
I know the truth. I've seen the remains of militiamen all hacked apart by runaways. Don't you pretend you're too good, too godly. I know you'd rather cut our throats in our sleep.
No, Mr. Charles. I just can't use the whip. My mama died by the whip.
Yeah, you lying still. You never knew your mother.
I know her. At the old place, Mama stole that cup of biscuit flour from the kitchen. Master stripped her and started beating on her. We begged him to stop. Then Master told me to give her 10 lashes so he'd give her 20. So I whoop her. 10 lashes. While he pulled salt on her back. A couple of days later, she dead. See, that's when I stopped talking.
Stop talking. You were mute. I taught you to speak.
I was talked before. I started talking again once I came here. Told myself I'd serve you the best way I knows how. You and Dr. Bankhead have been decent to me, allowing me to save up money that buys freedom.
Yes, my father has been very liberal, allowing you to receive payment. But I will be in charge of the book soon. And if you will not follow my instructions to the letter, you will forfeit that money. Don't you even think about running away. They got double patrols out there in the country with hounds. You won't get 5 miles.
Please, Mr. Charles. You know the doctor don't buy whipping our house.
Enough! I said no more breaks for these lazy niggers. By my count, you've already cost me 5 days hard labor.
Yes, sir. How many days of labor you didn't cost me?
What did you say? What did you say to me, boy? God damn it. There'll be hell to pay for your insolence. You stay there. You stay right there. I will return with Mr. Yancey, and he will strip the skin from your hide.
Hey, what's going on with Carter?
He's just down by the tree.
Doing what?
Just want some time to think.
Oh, well, will you please bring him back? Morris won't leave until he speaks with him.
Dad, can't you just convince Morris that we should vote for impeachment because it is the right thing to do? Why tie Carter's hand? What is so wrong with universal health care?
The position of the Institute is we can't afford $1 trillion entitlement program.
But what's your position? Every other developed nation believes that health care is a right.
I don't deal with healthcare at the Institute.
You don't deal with racism either.
Morris wrote that book 20 years ago. No one pays attention to it anymore.
Except neo-Nazis who've been quoting him lately.
Look, we're trying to get something accomplished here tonight. I have to pick my battles.
Come on, Dad. This is all about money, just like everything else in politics.
That's not true.
Oh, yeah? How much are they paying you anyway?
Well, that happens to be none of your business.
Let me guess. $300,000 a year with speaking fees?
Well, whatever it is, it paid off your college and law school loans.
That's your argument to implicate me. I'd rather live in a country that didn't force students to rack up thousands of dollars in debt.
I agree. The 1% should be paying more.
What about the 2 or 3? That's about where you fit in, though,
Okay,
isn't it?
that's enough. The two of you. Cynthia, go get Carter. Morris won't leave until he gets back, and we all want Morris to leave.
Fine.
Oh. Remember how difficult she was when she was 13?
Oh boy, do I.
I miss that kid.
Well, she still idolizes you.
Hardly.
David, what's going on? Why did you invite Morris here? And don't tell me it was to help Carter.
Okay. Here it is. The board was upset over the campaign finance reform editorial.
Why were they upset?
It said Republicans should support it.
What's wrong with that?
Apparently, bipartisanship is a dirty word these days. Morris went to bat for me. He's doing me a huge favor.
So you were almost fired, and now Morris will save your job if Carter comes out against universal health care?
Not necessarily. He just wants our help tonight.
Ugh, bastard.
He's okay, really. He's a decent guy.
He's horrible.
On the IQ stuff, he's done solid work in other areas.
What other areas? The only point I half agreed with all night was the one about rich people living in bubbles. Like us.
We don't live in a bubble.
Oh no. I go to the club, Whole Foods, and my book group. The only people of color we see these days are the gardeners, the maid, and the caterers.
You don't like it here?
Of course I like it, and I don't.
We deserve this.
We deserve this? So what, we're entitled?
Yes, goddammit, we're entitled. We've worked hard.
Has it been that hard? I mean, how much of this is white privilege?
Oh, please, white privilege.
Yes! College tuition paid, inheritance, job opportunities. Compared to what most people go through, a lot of this was handed to us.
I get it now. This is why you invited Sharon here tonight.
Well, I invited her here because she's going to be family. But yes, I feel she offers a valuable perspective.
Perspective. You read a few slave narratives and suddenly you're stricken with white guilt.
Maybe. And maybe you should read a few slave narratives.
I'll just wait for your novel to come out.
Don't be an ass.
Look, I've read slave narratives, okay? I'm aware of the history.
Are you? Because there are unmarked graves all around this place. There were crimes committed here. It's real to me now.
It's real to you now. Congratulations. Maybe we should open up the place as a home for welfare queens.
Oh, please. Welfare queens.
I'm being satirical.
Are you? Because welfare queen is another racist dog whistle created by people like Morris Johnson.
Well, what exactly would you have me do?
Go back into journalism.
You may not have noticed, but print media is dying.
There's still jobs out there.
Yeah, out there. We'd have to move.
Well, you could freelance.
Oh, and make what? A fifth of what I make now. And what are we supposed to do for health insurance? Pay 20 grand a year out of pocket?
Oh, I could teach again.
Oh, you hated teaching.
No, I love teaching. I hated the overcrowding and buying my own supplies. All the nice results of defunded public education.
Oh, I guess that's my fault, too.
It's not just you. I've turned a blind eye because it's easier not to question the money and the way we live. But now I see there's a price.
There's no price. No price. We're exactly where we're supposed to be.
We're going to have mixed-race grandchildren someday. Is this the world you want to bring them into?
Well, whether I do or not, this is the world.
You're going to tell that to Carter and Cynthia?
Yeah. If they can't deal with it, maybe they shouldn't get married.
My darling, the sun is above the horizon.
Oh, there's a chill in the air holds me.
The servants are already about.
Mother will be up as well.
We should get you inside. She'll be cross.
Oh, no, I don't think she will.
What would you tell her?
The truth?
That we are laying together tonight, outside in the garden?
Yes, I have no secrets from Mother.
And your father?
Father will come to know you as I do. He will see the goodness in you.
How can he see it when I do not see it myself?
No, you are good. You are yourself again.
Perhaps.
You've not taken a drink all night.
No. You have banished all the demons from my mind.
Oh, you must remain strong when I leave.
I must. I will try.
Charles, what happened in the slave patrols that caused you to drink?
That is not for your ears.
If we're to be man and wife, we should be able to share such things.
Very well. I will tell you this. One of my duties was applying the lash. After a few months, I was able to perform this task without minding the cries.
But you were under orders. Now that you're done with the militia, you can't forget all that.
Yesterday, I ordered Cato to whip the field hands. When he refused, I promised to have him whipped by Mr. Yancey.
Did you have him whipped?
No, I couldn't find Mr. Yancey. And once I returned to the house, I began to reflect on my actions. God, I hate this business.
Father hates it as well. You should write to him, explain how your troubles from the militia, and then he will lend a sympathetic ear.
Yes, I will. But first, I must find Cato and be reconciled with him. He is far more than a servant.
Yes, he should be part of the household again.
Yes, I will make this right.
Morning. You have not been to bed.
No, Mother.
You must be tired.
No, not a bit.
All the same, you should try and get some rest.
Mother, the most wonderful thing has happened.
Yes, dear, you may tell me after you've had some rest.
But Mother, I am a woman now.
Certainly, you are almost 18 years old. Where's Sookie? Why is there no breakfast?
Mother, did you hear me?
Yes, dear.
Did you not take my meaning?
I took your meaning, but here comes your father. It'd be best for you to go to
Yes,
bed.
Mother. Morning, Father.
Good morning. She's up early.
Yes.
Was there no breakfast?
Apparently not.
Sookie, where's Dr. Bankhead? Has he been called away?
I don't know, sir.
Why is there no breakfast prepared?
I'm sorry, ma'am, but I've been up all night.
Well, are you ill?
No, sir, it's Cato. He's gone missing.
This is alarming news. Do you know why he would abandon
Yes,
his
sir.
duties?
Yes, sir. He was threatened with the whip. It's what I was saying to you the other day, ma'am. Cato was more afraid of the whip.
Oh, pardon me, Sookie. You've already spoken of this with Mrs. Randolph?
Yes, sir. I asked Mrs. Randolph if you could purchase Cato and me back to Monticello.
That is true, Thomas. I was going to bring it up to you today.
It's because of Mr. Yancey, sir. He's awful free with the whip.
Yancey. Do you mean Miles Yancey?
Yes, that's the man.
Oh, Miles Yancey has a terrible reputation in Albemarle County.
Mr. Randolph, please, Mr. Randolph. If Cato has run off, please don't let them whip him.
Well, I will do what I can, but in the meantime, we must do everything we can to locate Cato and return him peaceably.
Yes, sir.
Meanwhile, you should return to your chores.
Yes, ma'am. I'll attend to your breakfast.
Thank you.
Sookie asked if we could lease her and Cato, and you didn't think to mention it to me?
Yes, Thomas, I was going to ask you, but frankly, I didn't wish to excite your prejudice against Charles as Anne's suitor.
Excite my prejudice.
Yes.
Well, there seems to be some activity at the end of the field.
Where?
Over there by the tree.
Oh, what is it, Thomas? Your eyesight is more acute than mine.
Martha, let's return indoors.
Is that something hanging?
I'll
from
tell
the
you
tree?
once we're inside.
Mother, Father.
And
I
return
what's
indoors.
happening.
Return
Mother,
indoors now,
what's
please.
happening? Mother, why the
Dr. Bankhead, who is that? What has happened?
Mr. Randolph, I am trying to determine that for now. Would you please escort your family out?
Yes, of course.
Charles! Who has done this?
The militia found Cato 20 miles north on the Fredericksburg Road. He gave them chase.
And now they have hanged him?
He was already dead. They hanged him as an example to the other slaves.
This is an outrage.
Well, this or his head on a stake.
Where is the leader of the militia? I will have him court-martialed.
Stop. I know the man.
Then speak to him.
I have. And if Cato is not allowed to hang there, we will not collect the state money.
Of course we will receive the payment. They had no business shooting him down.
They didn't shoot him. Cato shot himself.
Oh, I do not believe it.
They have my discharged pistols to prove it.
Then it was under duress, provoked by the militia, bungling their task.
There is no payment for suicides. If Cato is not allowed to hang there for 5 days, the captain will file an accurate report.
I do not understand. Guido. He seemed so content. We gave him every liberty. Why would he run away?
Perhaps the field work was too much for him.
This is unspeakable. In full view of all our guests, I will have a word with the officer.
Father, don't do it. I am well acquainted with the captain. To offend him, we will not collect the payment.
But this is barbaric. It is completely immoral.
This is $300.
What a day this has been. What a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's almost like being in love. My fellow Americans, As your Democratic congressman, I swear I will never lie to you. So let me honestly explain how I will serve each and every one of you good Democrats. First off, I promise to work tirelessly on your behalf. Every morning I will leave my congressional chambers, cross the street, and into a call center where I will spend 4 to 5 hours every day on the phone begging you for money. To my health insurance friends, I promise I'll spend 15% of our GDP on health care, giving you half of that money back in pure profit, all the while maintaining the least efficient healthcare system in the developed world. To my Wall Street friends, I'll keep defunding education so you can fill in the gaps with extortionate student loans. And when many of those student loans go belly up, causing the next Great Recession, I'll make sure the taxpayers bail you out again. For all you defense contractors, I'll keep funding 2 never-ending wars, dozens of unnecessary military bases, and all the guns you can stockpile. All this and more, I promise you, my people, because I care for you. Now, for the few of you good Democratic voters out there, the 99% or so, here's what I have to say to you. You are so fucked. Ladies.
Did you make up your mind?
Nope.
Come on back. We can still get that impeachment vote without giving up Cortez.
Carter, let me drive you home.
Now, can't you see how important this is?
No, not really.
We finally have a chance to change things. This healthcare bill could be the beginning.
You think the Democratic Party is going to change anything?
Yes, now is a chance to form a broad coalition of people, white and black.
Help blacks? I don't think so.
Well, how would you propose to help African Americans?
Carter knows.
Carter knows what?
Sharon wants me to introduce a reparations bill.
Reparations. That would only be symbolic.
Symbolic. Why should I expect you to understand the daughter of the best friend of the most influential
My
racist
father
in the
doesn't
country?
agree with Morris Johnson.
You could have fooled me. He was pretty quiet in there while they were discussing his book.
He's trying to help Carter with impeachment.
He's doing what they've been doing for the past 40 years. Use crisis and chaos to undermine democracy.
Okay. What would you suggest?
Stop negotiating. Stop delaying the inevitable.
Inevitable what?
Jefferson said it. A little rebellion now and again is a good thing.
What are you talking about? A revolution?
Or a civil war.
You want to bring down the government. How does that make you any better than Morris?
He thinks the capitalists will win out. I'm betting on the proletariat.
Wow. How do you see this playing out exactly? Mobs of people with pitchforks walking on Wall Street?
Wall Street or nice neighborhoods like this one.
Oh, and what about when the alt-right marches on Georgetown? They won't be carrying pitchforks. It'll be AK-47.
The two of you, please, just shut up.
What is going on out here? You were supposed to bring him back.
Is Morris gone?
No. But, Carter, I would like you to hear the latest tweet from the executive office.
Okay, should be good for a laugh.
Yeah, this one isn't fun. Satellite images show that Iran is assembling their nuclear arsenal. It is time to act now. You can't negotiate loser peace treaties with demagogues. I suppose he meant demagogue. Ironic.
Satellite images is bullshit, right?
Yeah, of course it is, but he's serious about some kind of military action, and if that happens, we will not get the impeachment vote.
So you're gonna give in to
Cynthia,
Morris because
I
of
would
a
like to
tweet.
speak to Carter alone.
But this is their MO.
Cynthia, go back to the house, make nice with
If we
Morris,
just
don't
get
mention
some
anything
momentum
even-
onto his
I am not running a debate team here.
Hey, Brad's right. Go back to Morris and make nice.
Carter!
Please,
But-
Cynthia, just go.
Okay.
Do you have something to say?
Not a thing, Mr. Congressman.
Carter, what is going on?
I'm trying to turn down the volume.
Volume? What do you mean? Talk to me, man.
About a month into our tour, we called down a strike on the building in Fallujah. Our CO told us it was occupied by insurgents. Turned out it was mostly women and children. As we poured out their bodies, this woman kept screaming at us. Mama. Mama. At first it sounded like she was saying the money. Money. Later I found out Lamartha was Arabic for why. For the rest of the tour I kept hearing her voice in my head. Why? Why? Why were we over there? Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. There were no WMDs. Turned out the money was the right answer. ExxonMobil got the oil wells, Halliburton got the defense contracts. Every Humvee, every wheel, every round of ammunition was another dollar in the pocket of some stateside millionaire. So I decided to go to law school and change things. For a moment, the voice in my head got real distant. But now it's like she's right here. Right here. Lying over her dead kid's body. Crying as loud as she can.
Carter, I'm sorry. You come with me now. We can stop the flow of money into another bullshit war.
I don't think he'll start another war.
You want to risk that?
The thing about Morris is that he's part of the same money machine. His lies, his propaganda are the grease in the wheels. And Iraq was convincing us that every Muslim's a terrorist. Here is convincing us that poor black people are the enemy. Well, let's not forget about the Mexicans.
Yeah, I know. Morris is a tough sell. But right now, he is the only solution.
I'm not voting against universal health care.
Fine. Then you're going to have to talk about taxes.
Sure. Taxes. Lamar.
Thomas, how could you? Thomas!
Yes, Martha.
Dr. Bankhead has just informed me that you've rescinded the dowry.
That is correct.
Oh, how could you do such a thing without consulting me?
Because Charles Bankett is not a suitable match for Anne.
Oh, Charles simply made a terrible mistake. Do you know he is distraught?
I know he is drunk.
You are drunk.
I've been drinking, there's a difference. And I've never been so clear-headed.
Why don't you come indoors? The view here is no longer salutary.
On the contrary, my dear, it strengthens my resolve.
Your resolve? To do what?
Write your father a letter. Before he leaves office, he must use his considerable influence to end this blot on the land.
Oh, Thomas, how can he do it now?
I have a plan. A plan that calls for gradual emancipation. All children born into slavery will be freed by the age of 17.
Is that practical?
We will have to make some sacrifices. After your father's return, we will live a simpler life away from Monticello.
But we have made our home at Monticello.
Yes, which your father insists on running like a French hotel.
But he cannot turn away guests. We must maintain a reputation for hospitality.
Our famous Southern hospitality, built on the backs of slaves.
Father, I must speak with you.
Not now.
Thomas, you should let her speak.
Speak.
Charles is not to blame for what happened to Cato.
No, who is to blame?
We are all to blame.
He drove Cato to his death.
He was desperate to save the harvest.
Well, he should have the courage then to accept the consequences of his actions.
Oh, Thomas, please. Charles knows that he made a terrible mistake. He is still a fine young gentleman.
He is corrupted.
No, Father.
Yes, corrupted. And how can our fine young gentlemen not be corrupted? How do they learn justice in industry? An example we set is to hold men in chains and steal their labor.
Then we are all corrupt.
Perhaps. Which is why this abomination must end.
But the wedding date is already set, Father.
Well, now it is unset.
You cannot stop me from marrying Charles.
Can't I?
Father, I must inform you that Charles and I know each other as man and wife.
Know each other.
Yes, as Adam and Eve.
What? When?
Night before last.
What is this? Suddenly I find myself in the midst of a farce. Oh, right on cue. Enter the ardent young paramour.
Sir, if I may.
You may not.
Oh, Thomas,
Mother,
please.
I see a hand in this.
Oh, Thomas, understand. They love each other.
Oh, love must always triumph. Is that it?
Oh, well, Charles is here and wishes to speak with you. Let us reach an understanding.
My apologies, but I will no longer play the part of the old fool.
Father, will you at least speak with Charles?
Excuse me, I have a letter to write, and evidently I cannot write it here.
Oh, Thomas, please.
I said, excuse me.
Oh, he is overwrought. I will bring him back.
Your father loathes.
You should write to him. You explain that you didn't mean to occasion Cato's death and that you believe in the injustice of slavery just as he does. You do believe slavery to be unjust, do you not?
Yes. Unjust and immutable.
Father will free his slaves regardless.
Really? And then will he till his own fields, empty his own chamber pots, and tell his pretty daughters that he can no longer buy them new dresses and combs and watches? No. No, it is much easier to be angry at me.
But you mourn Cato.
Yes, I mourn Cato. I also know I was cruel to treat him as anything other than an inferior.
No, you were just being humane.
I was cruel. I was cruel to be his friend. Cruel to teach him to read and write. Cruel not to show him his place. Had I simply played my part from the beginning, he might have accepted his fate with the resignation of the brute, not the dignity of a man.
You were right to be kind to Cato.
Cannot be a kind slave owner. It is a contradiction in terms.
I know this is hard for you, but you will recover from this. You will be yourself again.
Myself. Do you mean that boy you used to play with under that tree? No. No, I will never be that Charles again.
Oh, I'm sorry for you.
And let's go away to some quiet place where I can hold you.
We are preparing to leave.
Please. Just for a few minutes. And let's be away.
I can't, Charles. I'm sorry.
Please.
No, Charles.
I can't bear the thought of losing you.
You're not losing me, Charles. No, Charles, release me. Charles! Charles!
What is happening here?
Forgive me, my darling.
Yeah. Go finish your packing. Go.
Yes, Mother.
Charles, do you wish to be married to my daughter?
Yes, ma'am. More than anything. Which is why I must now speak with Mr. Randolph.
Oh, let's let things settle for a while. I believe patience now is the better course.
Yes, ma'am. Still, I'd like to do something to make some kind of amends. I'd like you to take Suki home with you.
You wish to give Suki back, and this is amenable to your father? After all, Suki is his property.
Yes, ma'am. And perhaps you can tell Mr. Randolph that in this small respect, at least, I've tried to mend our family ties.
Yes, I will tell him. I will also speak to my father. He will fix the terms of a new dowry with Dr. Bankhead.
Thank you.
Now, you go to your father. In times like these, youth must rely on the wisdom of their elders. And then we shall all say goodbye and forget this unpleasantness.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you see them down there?
Yes, they're just walking back now.
They're taking an awful lot of time with this.
You think Carter will exchange votes?
They will if they have any sense.
Look, Morris, is there anything else I can do, to make my case with the board?
Now that you mention it, there might be something.
Yes?
The re-release of the IQ Factor is scheduled for next month. My plan is to form a panel representing the Institute. I'd like you on that panel.
A panel defending the IQ factor?
Defending, discussing, there'll be speaking engagements across the country. I'm going to invite Dan and Terry to join us. It'll be a road trip. Can you imagine how much fun we'll have?
Oh, yes, but, it's not exactly my area of expertise.
I've included a few new chapters on economic solutions, but it shouldn't be too difficult to get up to speed. I'll send you an advance copy of the new edition. will go a long way in assuring the board.
Okay.
I understand that it might be problematic for you now to defend my book, given your family circumstances.
Yes, there is that.
And I know that there's a great deal of pressure to seem politically correct these days. But between us, has the IQ gap ever been more glaringly apparent? After all, look at Africa.
Well, there are political and social factors here, Howard.
Colonialism? South Africa is the only first world country on the continent. And why? European influence. Really, David? Can you name one first-rate black scientist or mathematician?
Morris, I know you've also made these arguments about women.
I know we can't discuss these things with the ladies present, but do you doubt it? Has there ever been a woman you could call a genius?
Well, actually, yeah.
Ah, welcome back.
Ms. Morris, sorry for the delay, and thank you for giving Carter and I a chance to get on the same page here.
Not at all. I'm sure we can arrive at some mutually satisfactory agreement.
Yes, and let's do so while we have some privacy, huh?
Vi, would you give us a minute, please?
Don't let us get in your way. We ladies will just stand over here and talk about the wedding.
Look, everybody, I'd like to apologize if I've caused any discord here tonight.
Well, Morris, politics can be very divisive, but no, you boys just do what you need to do. I mean, it's not like you're discussing state secrets, is it? Just go right ahead.
Very well.
Okay, so, like I was saying, Morris, sorry for the delay. Thank you for giving us a few minutes to put our heads together.
Of course. I understand. None of this is to be taken lightly.
So here's the thing. If the Cortez bill is introduced into the House this year, Carter will vote against it. How does that sound?
I see. Certainly I can take that back to the congressman. The thing is, the bill probably may not make it out of committee until the spring.
If that's the case, I want to reserve the right to vote with the party.
But only if the party takes it up, which at this point is extremely unlikely.
Okay, that's a start.
We're also willing to talk about giving up a few other votes, namely maintaining the current capital gains rate. How would that do for the congressman?
It might, but perhaps we could sweeten the pot a bit. For me,
What do you have in mind?
I was just talking to David about this. I am going on a book tour in a few weeks to introduce the re-release of the IQ Factor. Perhaps Carter would be interested in joining a panel discussion on the book.
Seriously?
How many panels are we talking about?
I don't know, I'd say a dozen or so college campuses, mainly. Who knows, maybe I'll try Georgetown again.
Over my dead body.
I don't see how it can hurt to talk.
It hurts because appearing on stage legitimizes him and his book.
Morris, I'd be free to question the book, would I not?
Of course, within reason. We don't have to get diverted by the spurious racial issues. The new book makes it clear that the IQ Factor is about class and not race.
New bottle, old wine.
As a matter of fact, Carter, I've added a new chapter on solutions to economic inequality, including a section on guaranteed income. Would that interest you?
Guaranteed income? What's that?
Guaranteed income, like the name suggests, would guarantee every citizen a minimum payment of, say, $10,000 a year.
Their plan is to replace all social spending, like Medicare and Social Security. Guaranteed income is just another right-wing scheme to cut taxes.
Can we go inside, please?
Morris, is that true?
It would replace most entitlement programs. Why don't I send you a copy of the book and then you can judge for yourself?
Did I warn you about this or not?
Excuse me. We are working here to try and impeach the president and restore democracy. Do you agree with that?
This impeachment won't change anything. Do you know why conservatives don't like the president? He's too blatantly obvious for them now. He's carried on their agenda to the letter.
What agenda?
Blame everything on blacks so poor whites can vote against their economic interests. Divide and conquer.
Okay, that's enough. I think you've made your point.
How about it? Because don't think for 1 second that Morris won't own you just like he owns David.
Excuse me? What, he owns me?
So you can say whatever you think at the Free Enterprise Institute?
Yes, of course.
And you completely agree with the IQ factor?
Yes, much of it.
Much of it?
Yes.
What parts don't you agree with?
Well, actually, I do have a problem with some of the chapters.
Which chapters are those?
The ones that deal with race.
You've told me that you admired the book.
Yes, I did.
Well, which is it then? Do you agree with the book or not?
I agree with some of the book. I also agree with some of your critics who found problems with your test data.
They didn't understand the regression studies. That's why you need to reread the book and familiarize yourself with the math.
I understand how statistics work, but when you look at things like economic conditions and the stress of poverty, the 15-point IQ difference is negligible.
Stresses of poverty is a question of science, objective science.
Science, but you haven't responded to any of the challenges from real scientists.
Real scientists?
Yes, your background is economics, not biology or genetics.
You haven't read the book carefully.
Look, Morris, I've read the book and the responses, and I have to conclude that the IQ factor is just poor science, and probably when I come to think of it, much worse than that.
Much worse? What's that supposed to mean?
Well, I'll tell.
what?
If I may, it means you've legitimized racist dogma as an argument to cut social programs and to lower the taxes on the rich.
Really? David, is that what you're saying?
Yes, I suppose it is.
Well, clearly you don't seem to want to understand the book at all.
No.
Or the core values of the Institute.
No, probably not.
Well, you certainly leave me no other choice than to recommend your dismissal to the board.
No, that won't be necessary. You can have my resignation right now.
Very well. I'll let them know.
Good, thank you.
About the impeachment vote,
I think we've covered enough ground for one evening. I should be getting going.
I think that we can still come to an arrangement.
Perhaps call me at the office.
Definitely. First thing Monday.
Violet, thank you for a lovely evening. You really do have a beautiful home.
Thank you, Morris.
I should get back to.
Sharon, don't go. I was hoping you'd stay with us tonight.
Thank you, but I've got an early morning class tomorrow on reconstruction.
Thanks for coming. Reconstruction.
See you, little brother.
Yeah, take care.
Oh, way to go, Dad!
Yeah, way to go, Dad.
Somebody had to tell Morris
Yeah, that
off.
was indulgent.
Indulgent. Dad just gave up his job.
We had a chance at impeachment.
I'll call the three ups tomorrow. We should try negotiating directly.
It won't work. Trust me, not if Morris isn't on board.
David, why don't we go inside the street now?
Carter, you need to call Morris first thing in the morning and apologize for what happened here today. You
Apologize.
need to be very clear with him. We still have a chance at this, but you need to give him Cortez without conditions.
No way!
Cynthia, that's enough.
If the Democratic Party wants to remain viable,
Enough! Carter, either she goes or I go. It's either her or it's me.
as long as both parties
Okay,
are...
Cynthia, that's enough.
But as long as you spend all your time stacking up to these people...
Okay, that's it. You're fired.
Well, you're firing me?
Yes,
Carter, please, I know I step out of line sometimes.
that's right. This isn't gonna work. There are gonna be a lot of changes around here.
Finally!
And the first change is I'm not going into the call center anymore.
What?
I said I'm done with the call center.
Where are you going to go? You can't raise money in chambers.
I know. We'll raise money on the website. Small donations only.
Where we could be getting $500 a week max. We are already on thin ice with the DNC.
I know. That's why I'm leaving the party.
You're leaving the party. What, as an independent?
Yeah, maybe as a democratic socialist.
That is not funny.
I'm not joking. The Republicans may be vile, but at least they're not hypocrites to the effect of campaign donations. The whole thing's obscene now. We're all money-grubbing whores.
Great. Maybe that can be your next campaign slogan. Carter Grooms, no longer a money-grubbing whore. Only, we won't have a dime to pay for airtime.
I'm done, Brad.
Okay. Look, don't do anything crazy now. It's been a stressful night. You sleep on this, we will talk in the morning.
I won't change my mind.
Okay, well, I can't be a part of that.
Like you said, it's been a stressful evening. Sleep on it and we'll talk in the morning.
I'm not going to work for someone who calls themselves a socialist. It's political suicide.
Okay. On Monday, you can say goodbye to the staff.
You mean my staff. You think any of them are going to stick around now?
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess we will.
Okay. See you on Monday.
Okay. Fine.
You just fired Brad.
I'd say quits.
What are you gonna do now without a chief of staff?
I was wondering if you wanted the job.
Okay, yes.
It won't be easy.
I mean, I know, but we should probably call which staffers you want to keep as soon as possible.
Right.
And we should map out your communications plan tonight.
You mean now?
It'll only take an hour or two.
Could you make some coffee first?
I would love to make you some coffee.
Kato, I don't blame you, honey. Best man I ever knew.
Sookie, please leave this place and return with us.
No, my place is here with Kato.
Dr. Bankhead has been very generous in allowing you to return with us. You may not have this opportunity again.
Please, Mr. Randolph, tell Dr. Bankhead to end this.
I've spoken to Dr. Bankhead. I'm afraid the matter is settled.
Please, Mr. Randolph, please, pay him to cut Kato down now and bury him decent.
I'm sorry, Sookie. There's nothing I can do now, but I promise you I will do everything in my power to end this terrible institution.
Mr. Randolph, do you believe we're all brothers and sisters?
Yes, Sookie. I believe we're all equal in God's eyes.
What about your eyes, Mr. Randolph? Don't you see him hanging there?
Please come back with us, Sookie.
You would never let them do this to a brother, a child, or anybody you cared for. Aren't we the same enough to stop this?
Hello, Carter. What are you doing up?
I couldn't sleep.
Me neither.
Mind if I join you?
Of course.
Thank you for the dinner tonight.
You're welcome. That was some evening, huh?
Yeah, that's too bad about David's job.
No. This is a good thing for him. For us both.
Cynthia said you're thinking about selling the place.
Yes. And I will be looking for a job.
You should get that novel published.
I don't think I can find a publisher.
No?
It's not very commercial.
What, no happy ending?
Not if I stick to the facts.
Which are...
Well, my romantic lead marries Jefferson's daughter, right? But he ended up a terrible alcoholic and wife beater. Then the father of the bride, Thomas Mann Randolph, introduced 3 bills to end slavery, but they were all defeated. He also died alcoholic and estranged from his family. All in all, they were a sad bunch, those Randolphs.
And your slave characters?
I really don't know how to do justice to the things that happened here. It's hard to imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
What about you? Do you think you can get reelected?
Probably not.
I'm sure gonna miss this view, especially at night. I used to come out here and think about my novel. All the things that might have happened 200 years ago.
In Iraq, I used to lie out in the desert at night, looking up at the stars. It's the only thing that reminded me of home. Here, it's the night that brings me back there.
Did you know that most of this house burned down in 1865? They don't think it was an accident. I wonder if Fairview will be here in another 200